How are we doing, everybody? I'm Cameron with Stay Busy Boxing, and welcome back to our Developing Defense series. Last week, we talked about footwork. Today's all about head movement. And in the same way we had some rules for our defensive footwork movements, we're going to have some for our head movements as well. And the first one is going to be that we need to keep our eyes on our opponent the whole time. Whether you're ducking, slipping, rolling, pulling, we always need to keep our eyes on our opponent. In the amateurs especially, guys love to throw quick combos, 1-2-1s, 1-2-3s, 2-3-2s. And if our eyes are off our opponent, someone throws a 1-2-1 and I take my eyes off, or even just a 1-2, if I take my eyes off him, I have no idea that second punch is coming. And I have no way to defend it, right? As if I slip and keep my eyes up, I can see that second one coming and I can either choose to slip the other way or maybe roll out, right? We have to give ourselves options and we have to use our brain with head movement, but we can't do that if we don't have a very good visual of what's in front of us. The second rule we need to be very conscious about is how far we're moving our head on these movements. It needs to be a realistic distance. Boxing is a game of inches. So if I'm going to slip, I can't slip way out here. There's no point. I'm out of my stance for the most part. My balance is kind of off, and I can't make another defensive movement or punch off that. As if I'm here, right? We're moving just enough for a glove to miss us, and because our eyes are up, we can decide what we want to do next. Now, the most important rule for using your head movement is understanding that you're not moving your head. You're using your legs and your hips. You're going to need to learn to hinge at your hips to use your head movement sometimes. This is very uncomfortable for a lot of guys that don't have their leg muscles built up, which is why it's so important to build that strength within our stance. If you're trying to work on your head movement and you're falling off balance or you think your legs are getting tired too quick, that's a problem. And the way we're going to fix that is by getting more comfortable in our stance. So if you just need to build that up, it's totally okay just to get in your stance and just do squats in your stance. If you do 100 a day, your legs will get so strong from a boxing specific manner that your legs aren't going to get tired. You're not even going to think about it. And you don't have to do 100 all at one time. You can do 10 here, 10 an hour later, maybe 20 at lunch, just whenever you can. But if you can do 100 a day, you'll be surprised how much leg development and strength you'll gain in such a short amount of time. Now, our last rule is really just pulling back to the golden rule of boxing, which is breathe, right? We do all this cardio so we can breathe. Same like with punching, same like with blocking. We need to breathe, because if we're not breathing, we're tight. And if we're tight, we can't execute our movements properly. And you mix up not being able to move properly while you're getting hit, and your brain's gonna go into panic mode. So working on your brain and learning to stay calm under fire, especially with head movement, is extremely important. But again, when you are panicking, get your lungs together, breathe with every punch, breathe with every defensive movement, breathe, exhale just a little bit. You'd be surprised on just how getting your breath under control can calm you to such a good extent. That's why it's almost the first thing you hear out of every corner when a guy goes to sit down between rounds. Hear your coach go, breathe in and out. Now here's the plan. Now, the first head movement I want to go over is ducking. And ducking can be used for a couple different reasons. First off, if you get guys that love to throw a lot of long, straight jabs, and they're powerful, not really snappy, more trying to take your head off, a duck can go a long way, right? Or if you're a tall fighter like me, and you expect that someone's going to be moving in on you, ducking is a great way to go straight down to sit in your stance and be ready to catch and shoot and play defense on the inside. Even though that's not where we want to be, there's going to be times where we have to be there as tall fighters. And sometimes if someone throws maybe a lead hook or a heavy two, just trying to get you to block it so they can move inside, just keeping your hands up and ducking down, blocking just with your guard and being ready for what comes next is going to be your best option. And a lot of guys think about ducking and they go, oh, I just gotta bend my legs. What's the point? Well, the point is it's another tool, right? Every type of way we can move our head and our feet is going to be a defensive tool. And we need to really ingrain it in our head to where it's muscle memory, to where you're so tired you can't think, but your brain recognizes visually this is a time to duck, that it can duck. So just like anything else, just do a couple steps forward, duck, couple steps back, duck. You can pivot and duck, front pivot, duck, right? You can step back, pivot, duck. It's just about making sure that your body can do it off so many different situations that's going to make it effective. If you only just stationary work on ducking, it's only get you so far. But as soon as you chain it with other defensive movements, it's when it's going to actually become a tool you can use. So the second movement we're going to talk about is slipping. Now, I want to talk about slipping with your feet stationary and then moving your feet. So this is going to be about being stationary. When you're slipping and you're stationary, there's really two things that you're thinking about. The first one is your distance is right to where when you slip, you can throw off it, or it's going to be that you can slip and you're going to do another defensive movement if you're not moving your feet. So that might be a slip pivot, it might be a slip pull, it can really be any chain of defensive movements. But when you're not moving your feet, you have to either choose to do more defense or you need to fire back. Now, if you're going to slip while you're moving your feet, you have some more options. Well, I should say some different options. So as a tall fighter that loves to throw a lot of 1-2s, I love the slip step to the right. All it is you step when you slip, and then I'm on an angle. And most of the time I can throw a 2 if they're staying far, or if they break that distance, I can go slip step 6, and then I'm back in my stance, right? So when you move your feet, you can still go on the offensive. And there's a ton of different punches you can throw off it. But also it opens us up just to straight up use our footwork, right? So I might also slip step to the right and realize that my spacing in the ring isn't where I want to reset and then re-engage. So I'm gonna slip step, then get on my bike, that one of those footwork movements we talked about before, to reposition myself before I re-engage back in the ring. And one rule I want you to keep in mind while you're learning to slip is understanding why we pick which direction. And of course, there's pros out there and really high-level amateurs that can slip either direction, any kind of punch. Doesn't matter. We're beginners, we're learning, so we're always going to slip to the pinky side. So because I'm an orthodox fighter and I'm boxing another orthodox fighter, he throws a jab, I'm slipping to the right. Okay? He throws a 2, I'm slipping to the left, because that's the pinky side of the punch, right? So if I throw there, they're gonna slip that way. And then when I throw the cross, they're gonna slip that way. And the reason that is because if they slip that cross, I can't punch them from that side anymore. And now I've created an opening where they can counter punch me. An amazing drill to help you develop your slipping is the triangle drill. We're gonna think of it like there's 3 points of a triangle. Up top, slipping to the right, and slipping to the left. So we're just gonna slip these directions and change up the order all the time. So I might go right, right. I might go left, right, left, up, right, up, left, right, up, right, left, up. We're just gonna play in these triangles. And same as anything else, set a boxing timer. If you can do 3 or 4 rounds of this, it'll really level up your head movement. The next movement I want to talk about is rolling. Rolling is another one of those movements that can be used in a stationary stance or moving your feet. Personally, I use it mostly while moving my feet because I'm so tall that on the inside, it's tough to find a good time for me to roll and make good use of it unless I'm going to move my feet after. But if you are going to roll stationary, right, rolling's pretty simple. You're basically making a U with your head. You're going up and down. Now, a lot of people like to roll off a slip. So slip, roll, and then you're loaded for whatever punches you want to throw. But me personally, like I said, I like to use my footwork after. So what happens is I'll get pushed up against something, and maybe let's pretend there's another corner right here, and I'm sitting in my stance, I'm catching and shooting, fighting for my life, and he throws the lead hook to the body a couple times. I'll give it to him, I'll block it, because I know after the 3rd time he's gonna change up and go for my head. So when I can force that one to my head is when I will roll and step, then get on my bike, or even just pivot, right? I might roll and step here, and then I'm at an angle to attack them myself before re-engaging at my range. So you really have to pick and choose the timing, because if you get the timing wrong, that's what's really gonna get you in a bad position when trying to roll. So we could work on our rolling with the same as everything else, just some drills. You wanna start out, just work on your U's, right? And then when you're ready for the next level, it might be slip, roll, slip, roll, slip, roll, slip, roll. And those are gonna be the 2 main drills we can do working on our stationary rolling. And it's even better because as soon as you get used to that, you can chain in some punching after it. It's great to do right in front of a bag. If I can go, maybe throw a couple jabs, slip, roll, body, body, roll, 2, 3, 2, whatever it's gonna be, just making sure we have a transition from offense to defense with the slip roll in mind, or even just a full stationary roll, is going to be imperative for you to be able to use this in sparring. It's a movement you really have to force yourself to work on. And so, again, the more we can get it into our muscle memory, the quicker and more effective it's gonna be when we can finally use it. And we're gonna work on our rolling with our footwork in a similar manner. So we're gonna, just like a normal drill, maybe this time I wanna work on punching off it, right? So we're gonna roll and step. Now we have the angle change, throw a punch, right? You know, roll and step, punch. Or we can commit to the round on working on footwork. So you might roll in, move one direction. We might roll in, pivot. But it's all about chaining these things together. Defense, you have to flow like water, and eventually all these different movements we're talking about will come together, and it's gonna be a beautiful thing. The last head movement I wanna talk about today is pulling. And pulling can be done a couple different ways. As a hall fighter, I love a big step back counter. There's so many things I can throw off it, and that works for me, right? But most people, they like to pull from the inside. So they might slip the jab, slip the right hand, and then pull out of that hook, and then you're loaded, right, to come back over top with the two. And I know there are some pros that can pull without stepping their back foot, but we're not pros, we're learning. So I want you to make it a habit that every time you pull, you step that back foot back there. It gives you something to land on where you're feeling nice and safe and secure, but also you're springy, you're ready to punch, right? And now that we have all these head movements tied together, we really need to start chaining them and linking them up. So a wonderful drill to start thinking about it is going to be the alphabet drill. So basically all we're gonna worry about is slipping, rolling, maybe a pull here and there, but we're gonna spell out the alphabet. We're gonna go A, B, C, and it's not that all these are realistic to use in the ring, but it's the fact that we're building that muscle memory to be able to move our head any direction, to basically have an option in any situation we may find ourselves in. That's just gonna about wrap us up today on episode 2 of our defensive development series. Be on the lookout for episode 3. We're gonna be talking about blocking and parrying. Then episode 4 will be how to catch and shoot and counter punch off that blocking and parrying. So make sure to drop a sub if you're excited for all that. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, stay safe, and don't forget to stay busy.